If you are in the security field planning to clear like coding round interviews, this video is for you. So over my journey as a security engineer, I have come across interviews where sometimes they ask you coding round. It's because few companies need you to also do automations, coding to consider you, and these are usually the high paying companies out there. So if you don't know how to code, you are already at a disadvantage. So let me share you some of the coding round questions I have had in my career journey, sorting from easy, medium and hard. So let's get started with this. So the easiest problem I have faced is this interview question from Amazon. Let's put it right through here in our IDE. So this is a pretty simple one. All they're asking us to identify is the AWS keys in this text. So for that, we better use Regex. So let's get started. So the problem statement is simple, like your source code, we need to identify all the valid AWS keys, and they have given some format for this. So let's set the regex pattern for this and get started. So for this, the pattern starts from AKIA, and it says is exactly 20 characters long. So this is 4 characters. So the remaining 16 characters are supposed to be uppercase letters and digits. And those are like remaining 16 characters. So we'll set it here, and we'll set a bound here that the word needs to end from this. So that's a pattern. Now we are going to search for it using the findall function. It matches all the patterns on the text which is given over here. So we set the pattern and use the source code as the second parameter. Now we just need to print everything. Okay, I missed something. I just need to set it as a raw text. Yeah, just like that, it found the 2 valid AWS keys in this example which matched the format, and the other things didn't get matched. So this is how they checked like if you did the code right or not. If you also match the false positive ones, then it's not such a successful code. So this is the easiest problem I have faced on my career in security coding interviews. Now let's go on to the medium one. So medium one is from Qualcomm. It was still relatively easy. You don't need to know regex for this. So this is another simple problem. What they give is they give a bunch of logs, and they want you to know the frequency of each logs. So how much times info came, how much times one came, how much time error came. So let's see, the output we probably need here is something like info has come 3 times, error has come 3 times, and one has come 3 times again. No, it's not 3 times. One has only come 2 times. So this is the ideal output we need, and let's start parsing it. For I in logs, print of I. First, let's check how the data structure looks like. Okay, so we don't need to parse the whole data. We can just get the first word here to count it. So I'm going to split it up. Okay, let's do it like this. Yeah, when we split it up, we have the word split, and we just need the first word. So for that, I'll do this, get the first subscript, and yeah, now we can start counting. So for counting, I'm going to have a dictionary over here, and let's put this in some variable like x. So whenever this comes into our dictionary, this value comes into our dictionary, we have to like count it, and if this value doesn't exist, we'll give it a default value of 0. Yeah, I think this should be enough for now. Now we can just print the dictionary. Oh yeah, my bad. Yep, and just like that, we got the count we wanted in the output. Info is there 3 times, 1 is there 2 times, and error is there 3 times. This is just simple dictionary, you can set it up and you got the answer already. So this would be the medium difficulty I have seen so far. Let's move on to the hardest one. So the hardest one I have seen is from a startup called Branch International. They pay you like remotely. It's a remote role. It's from a Mumbai fintech. So this is the hardest I have seen so far, but it's still generally relatively easy when you compare it with the DSA which developers face. But from a security engineer perspective, this is the hardest I have faced. So let's see this out. So for those who are not aware of this, this is a AWS Security Group rule, and since this was for more like a cloud security engineer position, they expected me to know some cloud stuff like AWS stuff. Now let's code the solution for this. From what we can see, we just need to identify if the CIDR IP is public or not. As usual, let's traverse through the dataset. Let's give it a descriptive name. Just make sure before like coding stuff, you know how the data works. That's why I'm doing all this print for you guys to see how these things are. So IP permission is the only thing here. I think we can get started with IP permissions. So we got the rules. I think we can go deeper now. So in one rule there are IP ranges. Let's do this. Import IP ranges. I think we need this. Okay, now let's check out how we can access this. Okay, we can access the from port here properly. Now let's see if we can access the IP ranges. Yeah, that also works. But this is a list which has a dictionary inside. Let's see if something like this works. Nah, we cannot access it like this. So the tough part here is in this nested struct, we need to access this info somehow. So when we do, I hate nested structures like this. This is the tough part, parsing all of these things. Okay, so we got this, the value we were looking for. So if so we are checking if this is a public subnet or not. Then we'll be printing rules of Guys, the code does look a bit complicated, but trust me, it's not that complicated. Since I'm looking at it after a long time, I'm finding this hard. But if you practice these nested structures, it's actually pretty easy to do it. Okay, they are asking output is public, so I'll just do that. And this should be enough. Parent. Okay, we'll convert this into a string. Give a bit more space. And just like that, we got the expected output. 22 is public, 80 is public because they have a CIDR IP range of 000. This one doesn't have that. And that's how you pass this nested loop and get this output. Maybe I put this in hard difficulty because this nested structure is a bit hard for me in general, but maybe you would have a different difficulty rate. But so far these are the few coding rounds I faced in all the interviews I've given. I've faced more, but these are the ones which are like memorable for me and I can just pick out from my brain right now. So make sure you're also up to date with your coding automation knowledge. These coding questions, this coding knowledge would generally help you land a security job in a high paying company, because coding is very essential over there in most companies, and you cannot get into these high paying companies without these basic bare automation knowledge.